Hey, I'm Lisa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 areas of my life I had to take off autopilot. So what do I mean by autopilot? So I follow a lot of productivity experts, Michael Hyatt being one of them. And I remember that he would often talk about this whole concept of drift and how sometimes if we are not intentional about things, we can kind of just drift through life and not realize where we're going. Let me know in the comments if you kind of understand what I mean, where you feel like you're just kind of drifting along. You're not necessarily like paddling, so to speak, in the right direction or swimming intentionally against a current. You're kind of just letting the current take you along. There are 3 areas of my life that I found in sort of recent history that I really had to take off of this sort of drifting or autopilot approach and get a lot more intentional. And stay tuned to the end of this video if you want to hear my #1 tip for ensuring that you're being intentional and you're not letting your life run on autopilot. So the first area of my life I really had to take off autopilot was around nutrition and fitness. Now, this is something that I really want to talk more about on this channel because 7 kids later, my body has been through a lot. 7 kids later, I feel very different about my body. I want to say that for a long history, and I'll link some videos in the cards if you want to dive into how I feel about this topic because I'm very opinionated. But I have finally made some headway in changing my relationship with nutrition and fitness. And really, there was 2 things. Number 1, it was a big mindset shift. I had to stop literally just constantly telling myself, like, you made bad choices when it comes to food and exercise. So that was number 1, a mindset shift. But the second thing was actually just developing a system. And so instead of just saying, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week and kind of crossing my fingers and leaving it up to chance, and this is the whole point of this notion, or this is what I'm trying to bring up in the topic of autopilot. You can't just leave certain things on autopilot. When I was in my 20s and I had babies, I, for whatever reason, didn't really have to care. My metabolism was probably a lot, faster. I was younger, my body bounced back easily, and so I could leave it on autopilot. But I found now in my 30s that leaving it on autopilot did not work. I was not losing the weight. I was simply just gaining it constantly, and it was really making me feel terrible. And so the second piece to making sure that fitness and nutrition was not on autopilot was planning. So having a plan for when I was going to exercise, which for me is 6 a.m. every single day. And then having a plan for nutrition. And for me, I'm following a gestational diabetic diet, which essentially just means that I am watching very carefully my carb intake and my sugar intake. It doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have them, but I'm having them in very careful portions. I have recently become so passionate about this topic because I really believe that if we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of other people. And so I'm on a mission to help moms understand that this is not like, you should not feel guilty when you are working out, and no one should make you feel like this is a waste of time or, this is not a priority because you live in a season of life. I believe that in every single season, we have to care about our bodies. Otherwise, we cannot show up for the people who need us. The second area of my life that I had to take off autopilot was my relationship with my husband. So we've been married 11 years and we've been through many ups and downs. Mental illness is very prevalent. It's something that we really care about and we speak about very openly here on this channel. So you guys know that we've been through a lot. But it wasn't always the case that I treated our marriage with the intention that I think it deserves. So in the beginning, when we were younger with, just 1 child, 2 kids, I found it could be on autopilot. We saw each other often. We both had very flexible schedules. And so it wasn't as, I didn't feel like I had to put in any effort in our marriage. But that probably wasn't correct. We probably would have been so much better in a way in the beginning if I'd put in as much intention as I do now. And so what our marriage looks like now, especially with the number of children that we have, we must prioritize going on a date night. It is a non-negotiable in my life that we have a once a week date night. It's typically on Wednesdays. Sometimes it's during the day, sometimes it's in the evening, but it's like a non-negotiable that on Wednesdays we are having a meal together alone. Alone. Sometimes a breastfeeding baby can come, but honestly, if we can swing it, we go alone. We stay close to home. It's that part of it is kind of on autopilot in the sense that we just go to the same restaurant, or we go to something very close by. It's not like we don't work hard to think about where we're going. That part is on autopilot. But the intention that every single week we are going to do something to connect, that is something that I had to take off autopilot. And in a way, it's actually kind of funny. Now it is on autopilot because we are simply committed to a once a week date, and it has made the world of difference in our marriage. But as I'm talking about it, I think I'm revealing in my head an area where perhaps I've allowed to go on autopilot, and I'd like to increase my intention, and that's in giving gifts to my husband. So of the love languages, gifts is not one of mine. It is literally I can't remember if it's 5 or 6. And if you're not familiar with the love languages, I will tag below a link where you can learn all about them. But they're very interesting, and I think that the more that we can learn about our spouses, the more that we can learn about ourselves, the better our relationships can be. So gifts, not high for me, but my husband, super high. And so I think that's an area that I'm just realizing right now with all y'all, is that I could get a bit more intentional about how I give him gifts, when I give him gifts. And so I think I might start something like every Monday, he gets a little surprise. And I'm not talking big lavish things. I'm just talking small things, like even if it's like a coffee, or if it's a, I don't know, his favorite, like he loves beard oil. The man has more hair products for his beard than I have for this head of hair. So even if it's just something small that's like $9 from the drugstore, I think I'm gonna try ways to be a bit more intentional in the way I give him gifts. If you have any suggestions for fun, even subscription gifts, those are really popular today, different subscription boxes, or tie of the month, coffee of the month, that kind of thing, let me know in the comments, because this is something I definitely want to improve upon. And the third area that I've had to take off autopilot is how I connect individually with my children. Okay, so I have shared with you lots on this channel about my whole no cell phone policy between 4 and 5:30 p.m. That is a non-negotiable in my life, because I just found that even though I was with them, I wasn't really with them. And I read this on Instagram and it broke my heart. Somebody literally said that their child told them, "Mommy, listen to me, but listen to me with your eyes." You know what I mean? Because yeah, we can say, yeah, I'm listening, but no, we're looking down at a screen distracted, right? And so I had to make it a non-negotiable that my phone was put away between 4 and 5:30. So that I feel like has been extremely helpful in the area of connecting with my children. But one thing I really want to do more intentionally is the one-on-one dates. I've had it in my calendar to take them out of school for like a lunch, but I have found that it has not really actually happened in practice. It's in the calendar, but I've not made it a priority. So I think I need to look at what is not allowing me to make that commitment happen. Am I scheduling other things around it? Have I simply overlooked it? Do I need to revisit, my time? I've got to figure that one out. Or maybe it's easier that I do it in the evening. I have seen one beautiful YouTuber, her name is Jordan, and I will put her in the links below. She's got, if I'm not mistaken, 6 kids, and she does one-on-one time with her children every single evening, and she just cycles through each of her kids. So I need to get a little bit more intentional about how I spend one-on-one time with my kids, but the whole no cell phone thing and really just being present with them, like looking in their eyeballs and like talking to them about their day and how they're feeling. One really fun thing that actually has been a new introduction into my afternoons is this set of cards by Manners Co. This is so much fun. It's literally a game where you are asking questions and getting your children's responses. And they're nice questions. They're deep questions. They're things that can spur really awesome, deep conversation. And if you've been following me for a while, you know how much I love to go deep rather than stay surface with people. And so this has been another really fun strategy for me in connecting with my kids. Okay, so I'd love to hear from you. What are some areas of your life that you feel like you need to take off autopilot? Let me know in the comments below. And as promised, my favorite strategy for living a life of intention and ensuring that you're not on autopilot is to have a crystal clear picture of what you want your life to look like at the end of your life. So whether you sit down and you write literally like your own obituary, what you hope people say at the end of your life, or even if you imagine a milestone birthday, like your 65th birthday, for example, and what your adult children, what your grandchildren, what your friends, what people in your community say about your life, that to me is a very quick, awesome way to get crystal clear clarity on who you want to be, because who we are today informs who we are in the future. And so it's really important that we set ourselves up for success and have that picture of our most ideal self in the future and start behaving like that right now. If you like this video, I would love for you to give it a big thumbs up and share it with any mom in your life who you know wants to live a life of purpose and intention and passion. And don't forget to hit subscribe and that alert button so you can always know when new videos come out. Thanks so much for watching, and cheers to designing your beautiful life.